Okay, we'll try going again here. I'm getting kind of worried as I get too carried away that I might forget to do a little self-censoring. But I have to be quite frank with you. I think the FBI needs to be dissolved. I think it's NFG. It's non-functional gear. I think that we should pull together and take the FBI apart. The FBI, it was argued, was an extra constitutional organization. It was an unconstitutional organization when it was founded. And the selling point was that we needed to be able to combat organized crime across state lines. Because law enforcement would have to stop at the county line while the bad guys kept racing away in their super fast, souped up automobiles. And they wanted to be able to go across state lines and get them. So we basically got sold a bad bill of goods. There's other ways to address these things. But the FBI is not to be trusted. The FBI is actually doing the blackmailing and and all of the countermeasures against everything that we stand for and everything that we want. The FBI is part of the prison system that we have here, the penal system, and they regard us as their property, and they love to put us in prison because the system is set up to reward them for doing that. It's not set up to punish us. It's not set up to do any sort of criminal they're not trying to rehabilitate us. They're busy making money off of us. Now, I used to know the amounts, but I don't know them anymore. And I asked another friend who was working in the system if they remembered how much the federal government reimburses the state governments for each day they hold an inmate. It is profitable. They make money off that. It's tantamount to selling men's souls. And the way I see it is if the fellow does something that's not desirable, and we don't like it, then the local county has to bear the cost, not the federal government, not at all. It's not a power given to them. The policing, all policing is reserved to the several states. And today, they've industrialized the prisons, and they have the private prisons, which it's arguable as to whether or not it saves us money compared to the state institutions. But in most states, the biggest employer are the penitentiaries. So yes, and America imprisons more people than percentage of its population than any other country on earth. So you can figure out in states like Texas, Mississippi, and definitely Arizona, 20% of those should not be in prison just based on the charges that they were charged with and the way it was handled. No, 20% are probably just flat out innocent and shouldn't be there. But they don't care about that. All they care about are the numbers, looking good and cashing in and making a living off the backs of those poor people. If the county does not want to pay for the housing and incarceration of that man or woman, then the crime must not be good enough, must not be bad enough that they're motivated enough to pay for it out of their own pockets. That's the way it needs to be. It has to be done at a local level. Justice is best administered locally. And the FBI isn't going to solve anything. And you can see from Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, who have both been turned into liars, and from Pine Bondi, who's been turned into a liar as well, that no justice is possible. Remember that little slogan or motto I gave you a while back that I got when I was reading the NIV Study Bible the third time through? I swear off the pages it was jumping at me. Love, truth, and justice. That's what I pulled for when reading that particular version, which is more accurate in a word-for-word basis, word-for-word translation. It's not as accurate in the translation of idioms and context, and they cut a lot of stuff out of there. The committees that formed that had a lot of alternative lifestyle people on it, and so they changed things up to soften it so their alternative lifestyles would be much more palatable to us. So I think the FBI has to be taken apart. They have had the ability they have the ability still to go through and identify all the pedophiles. And they can send teams out there and they can round them all up within a week. They could identify the pedophiles and it wouldn't even take them a full hour. They've got that kind of ability, the databases, relational databases, that's been in existence for more than 25 years. So why hasn't it happened? It's because the FBI is a blackmail organization. It was formed to take us down, just like the Anti-Defamation League was formed to take us down. And above all, the Federal Reserve System was formed to steal everything and to force us into unending perpetual wars. So don't worry about your dollar getting wiped out. Don't worry about your life. Worry about the lives of others. And do your best to help pray for Donald Trump to protect him. And demand that the FBI be dissembled. That all of their files be taken into the military hands, which I don't trust them much anymore either, by the way. I know General Stubblewine, general in charge of Army intelligence, was mostly a good man, and I know that he said he watched the videos, and it wasn't a jet that hit the Pentagon, it was a cruise missile. I believe him in that. But I also believe the man up in New Hampshire, who's been fighting to bring everything to justice, fighting the DEA and fighting the federal government. And he says that Lieutenant General Stubblewine, not a 1-star, he's got at least 2, had at least 2. He's deceased now. General Stubblewine was offering him $50 million to go away. He was delivering the message, the bribe, to get him to go away so that the criminals can have their way. And the criminals do have their way. They own the state of New Maxwell, has chosen New Hampshire because she's already owned it. She bought it off. She owns the whole state. So she will be released to New Hampshire when she gets out. And I know you people are busy talking about, well, life imprisonment, this or that. We're just going to do life imprisonment. We're not going to kill them. I beg to differ. I think that some of these people need to be executed. Because from my experience, once they're behind bars, that doesn't stop anything. They keep running the same racket from in the bars. The only thing that stops it is to stuff their lights out. Hang them. I want to see them hung. However, I wouldn't mind offering them, they can choose their own method of execution. And there's not going to be any of these mistakes. If you don't die, you're free to go. No, I think that we should maybe offer them a firing squad. Death by hanging is the sentence, with an option for a firing squad. But let me tell you what we do with the FBI. We do this with all these people that are in positions of power. We try them, fair trial, and then once they're found guilty, we sentence them. And I'm not going to give up the death penalty. As a matter of fact, I'm going to impose the death penalty. I'm going to sentence them to death by hanging, and then I'm going to forbear. I'm going to suspend the execution as long as they are cooperating with us truthfully and giving us the information that we need. And if that means keeping them in protective custody, then so be it. Might feed them a little bit better so that they have something to live for, but I mean, they may have to be totally protected for a while. Now, I have to be frank. Listening to Mr. Binney, and this is important stuff. This is so important. And I'm going to go here and I'm going to look up this interview because you really, really need to see it. I don't think I have it here right now. I don't want to. I got it on the phone, text message, and I know I sent it out. Oh, I'm at the inbox. That's the problem. Here we go. All right. Epstein, Palantir, Thin Thread, Intel Ops with NSA. Whistleblower Bill Binney, Binney, and Dr. Catherine Horton. Dr. Catherine Horton is very intelligent, and unfortunately, the interviewer, Sarah Westall, kept over-talking her so that I couldn't understand things, and she kept blaming it for being a poor connection because they were getting interference from the FBI chiming in on that. Now, that's probably true, but as she kept her mouth shut, I could have understood much more. And I'm not happy about that. I might do it now. I was going to give her a thumbs down. I was going to tell her, you need to stop over talking your guest. Greg Hunter's guilty of that too. I will confront Greg face to face though. Yeah, he gets excited, and I understand that. But I don't want to see that trait come out more and more. We either get better or worse as we continue in life. Either our flaws get more pronounced and we succumb to those, or we overcome our flaws and keep growing and developing. This is Unmasking Deep State Operations is the title of this thing. It's on Rumble, and I think it was just put up. I just got it. My friend said he had emailed it to me before. I see there's only 3 thumbs down here on Rumble, and there's I don't like Rumble very much. It's hard to hold your place and keep it. Technically, it's not as easy to use as YouTube in several ways. 3 thumbs down, 244 thumbs up. She's got 59,400 followers, man. I got more than 400, but I don't even have 1,000. So give me the thumbs up, share this thing, and help me get this channel going just a little bit better. And buy some Bibles. And if you happen to be wanting to donate money, I accept gifts. If you want me to do something specific with it, I'll accept the conditions for the most part, but you can't expect me to hold anything back or do things in a certain way. I mean, you could ask me to do a certain subject. Fine, I'll address that. You could ask me to give you a consultation. Fine, I can do that. You can ask me to point you in the right direction or something or other. That's fine. I'm willing to do that stuff, but I'm not willing to compromise. Not much. Now, don't get me wrong. I jumped the gun calling for Trump to be rolled out of office, but there's problems with Trump. That's for sure. He's not a very noble fellow. He's certainly no statesman, and he's getting worse. His character traits, the flaws are becoming more pronounced as he's aging. And he thinks that he can throw his weight around like he did on The Apprentice with these leaders of countries that have nuclear armaments that they can deliver here, right here on the homeland. So Sarah Westall, Westall. Oh, she's an okay woman. Her voice is good for coming through nice and clear, but she overtalks and overshadows the people that are really giving us the info that we really want to listen to. She interrupts too much with too many things. Now, if you notice, I never interrupt anybody. I don't have any guests. I gave that up. I tried to have guests and people didn't find it interesting on the radio show that I had. And by the way, the last time I was on the radio, that's when they targeted my ass and hit me with one of their psychotronic weapons. And they're no fun. They're no fun at all. I know exactly where it came from. I kept having the tips given to me. The cell towers were lighting up a little bit beaming at me. But the worst thing was a drone, a Predator drone, I believe it was. I couldn't tell from the distance, was sitting up in the sky shining a light at my face during the day. And that thing was their weapon system. So I understand it's pretty powerful. And it was a really rough time for me. I don't like going through that stuff. I don't want to go through it again. So I'm not going to go on AM radio. And I'm going to be a little bit more careful about what I say and do, because they already have my number. They got everything on me, and they got everything on you too. So I believe in open communication, and I believe that if we're open enough on Facebook, Flash's book, the Department of Defense program against us that Peter Thiel put together, I believe that if we do enough good stuff and talk freely enough, they won't be able to stop us. With Google, I know it's nice to have a thesaurus, but I'm lazy, so I don't get that big book out very much, and I'd like to have a home and a library. I really miss having the big library I had before. It would really be helpful. But I had to give up 2 different libraries, one in music and the other one in psychology. It's a spiritual battle, yes, but it's unlimited warfare. They're using everything against us, not just the spirit. And right now in Israel, what we call Israel, which we really should call Satan land. Hate to use the name Santana because that's not quite right. Saint Nicholas, Saint Nicholas land, I don't know. Those don't fit. Rothschild land fits. Khazaria 2.0 fits. Or the land of Canaan. How about we call it the land of Canaan, since the Canaanites have taken over it again? They're doing their child sacrifice and child worshiping. They're having fires and sacrifices, orgies, and all kinds of crazy ass stuff at night in that country. And they're not hiding it. It's not underground. But they're doing that. And I mean, it's not making the news much. The people that are bringing it to us are writing things up. And I've got that somewhere that I sent it around. But I do want you to watch Epstein Palantir, Thin Thread Intel Ops with NSA whistleblower Beanie and Catherine Horton. The reason I'd like you to watch that is because this gentleman explains to us, and maybe you can hear it better than I did. He explains to us how easy it is to track down crime and criminals right now, and that we should have done this before the turn of the century. But the FBI wouldn't do it. And his business was helping him with this stuff. But because he was a good man and couldn't be bought off, they attacked him. He's lost 2 limbs because of those jackasses. And believe me, they're doing that stuff to all of us. They put us into a deep sleep, a zone in which we get paralyzed and we can't do a damn thing from. The only thing is, I've had some training that you haven't had, and I can remember some of the stuff. And I block a lot of it out of my mind because I don't want to remember it, because these are pretty ugly bastards, man. So if you think you're being harassed in your dreams, it's probably a lot more real than what you think, and it's probably not a dream state. It could very well be physically. Listen to Beanie. I'm not gonna tell you much more about him. But Bill Beanie, Binney, or Benny. Listen, and Dr. Catherine Horton is very intelligent, and she helps explain things better, although she does her share of interrupting as well. Both women interrupted the man. Sorry, women, you got to learn your place. Look, you have a lot to offer. You really do. You get a little too excited, just a little too much emotion, and you interrupt. The man was making his point. I don't know who this is. It's nice to have caller ID, but it's probably more Medicare fraud. If I was president, oh my God, I'd go after the judge that made it legal for them to do that. He's probably dead by now, but he and his family got paid off quite well. Which brings me to the former governor for Arizona. She got paid off very well too. And the first dirty bomb on the country that I know of was in Arizona. It was on its way to the Palo Verde nuclear power plant when the family called it in, and the sheriff's deputy showed up and spoke to them in Spanish, telling them, hey, why don't you empty the foot locker, put the stuff on your backs, and be on your way. These four jackasses didn't understand him, and the sheriff's deputy didn't understand why he wasn't understood by these Mexicans. It's because they were Iraqi nationals, and they were carrying a dirty bomb to blow up at the Palo Verde nuclear power plant. Now, that's the biggest nuclear power plant in the world. And the prevailing winds are from the west. Palo Verde's to the west, maybe 20 miles outside of town. And so that stuff would have just drifted around the canyons and the mountains, maybe even over the mountains, and just filled up the valley of Phoenix and killed people. Now, I'm expecting that dirty bomb to be repeated right here in this state. And I'm not going to hang out here much longer. I don't think it's a safe place to be at all. My God, I got a voicemail from that fellow. All right, I will call. I'll check the voicemail. Maybe it's a legitimate call. I'm getting ready to. I'm not enjoying the fact they can track me. I'm not enjoying feeding their stuff because I know they analyze all the stuff I say, and they're going to try to use what I say, not so much against me, although they could do that, but they're mostly going to use it to twist it and use it against you. They tell half-truths and all of that. So we're at 22 minutes. That's a pretty good time allotment. My main thing is that the FBI has to be disbanded and the ADL has to be disbanded. And I believe that B'nai B'rith, that founded them, and they were founded during, I think, the Civil War, when their kind, the bankers, were busy trying to destroy us. I think we need to kick them out of the country, or take them apart, take them out. I do not think that we should be kicking these illegals out anymore. I think we should just be burying them. I think we should just tell them it's really simple. You either deport yourself, or when we catch you, we just might execute you. And if I was president, I would be saying, oh, we're going to take you into custody, we're going to debrief you, and we're going to look at all that you cost us. And we're going to send you, along with the cost of flying your ass back to wherever it is, all that's going to be sent to your country, and we're going to collect from your country on that. Yeah, I want to zero out the Federal Reserve debt, pay it off, so those devils can't say that we made them. We got rich because of them. I don't want anything to do with their money system at all. And Trump is busy trying to run enough interference to get us to agree to the digital currencies. And he's investing in those himself, him and his family. And he's making money on insider trading just like his family is and the Congress is. Everybody's doing that. So it's okay, right? No, it should be a federal crime. It should be actually high treason, punishable by death. Forfeiture of all assets and forfeiture of one's life. Oh, well, I can just see me in court and they want to sentence me to death. They'll play my words back at me. Okay, fine. I hope you get something out of this. The FBI needs to be dissembled. It's a step in the right direction. We can enlarge the scope of a sheriff's domain. We can tell the sheriff that his domain is in his county, plus he has the authority and the power to charge a sheriff anywhere else in the country. He can bring charges against another sheriff that he believes is corrupt. Now, I'm not saying he can go arrest him, he can go take him into prison, but I think the sheriff who's filing the charges should be able to turn to another independent agency to take that sheriff into custody and bring him before a proper court. None of the courts in this country are proper right now. Not a one of them. There's one supposedly in Philadelphia that's okay, but I don't even know about that. The bar bastards are not to be trusted, period. And we need to enforce the original 13th Amendment. The whole reason the South seceded from the Union was the 13th Amendment. And the South was right. And you and I need to secede and keep seceding. It just means we withdraw our membership. It doesn't mean we turn to the enemy and we gang up against the country. It just means that we back off. We don't pay homage to them. Go get yourself, and I'm going to pull this up again because you need to do this if you can. And it's not going to be easy. But let's see. If I put in copper, there we go, coppermoonshinestills.com, and you put it in, and you come up, and it's email Colonel CSA, whatever that is. He's got a phone number. He's got an Alma, Arkansas address. Interesting. But you need to go to the 3 dots on his website, and he's got all about moonshine and stuff. Really, he does. And if you really want to be drinking and doing stuff, you need to do that on your own because they poison the alcohol. They've done it before. They put wood alcohol inside the booze that they're running around. But I want you to go down here to State Citizen Passport. Follow his format. That's what I did. And go in and get yourself a proper passport in which you attest that you are a citizen of your state under the Constitution, and you're not a 14th Amendment mixed race man or black man, United States corporate citizen. Because that's a lie. It's not true, and they got us all lying about that. So that's where you start, and this is how you begin to take yourself out. And then when you get stopped or they want ID, you show them this, and they're going to freak out. And they're going to start asking you questions. Just tell them I don't answer questions. That's my ID. Am I being detained? And he can take that passport and run it. Oh, he could ask you for other ID as well, but you proffer that and say, that's my proper ID. And then he can look and see your status up. So they can still give you tickets in traffic, so be careful. Don't test it too much. I had a buddy who kept spending too many nights in jail, so he stopped doing that stuff. But if they take your driver's license because of child support stuff, then they really can't do anything to you because they've taken the driver's license, and you're not driving, as long as you're not driving an Uber or a Lyft or a commercial truck. If you're not driving for hire, then you're free to travel. They can't restrict that. So, and they've all figured out how to go after you on property taxes. So you can protest that if you want, but you ought to file it. You ought to pay it, and you ought to pay it under protest, and let them know that you do not think it's constitutional or proper. And you can maybe make a claim against it. But if you really want to lay low, then don't say a word. Just pay it and be done with it. I got a friend, they dropped his doggone property taxes down to so low it's not funny at all. I want you to prosper. Oh, here it is. And the 14th Amendment fell 2 states short of being ratified. So it was never passed properly. And that's right here on his website. The other thing is he does not tell you that the South was occupied and the Southerners were not allowed to they weren't having elections. They weren't allowed to have elections to vote for their congressmen, their representatives. And same with the states. They couldn't choose their representatives to represent the state governments in the Senate. Remember, the Senate represents the state governments. But the problem is all these state governments are corporations today, too, so they're all illicit, illegal. The Constitution guarantees a republic form of government in every state. And we have a woman, Patricia Wheat, who's from one of the Carolinas, and she ran for Congress and almost made it, real close. She pointed out to us that we need to get our state governments back in line and then go after the central government. And she is quite right about that. But at this particular point, we have to secede individually from the Union. May Yahweh bless. Let's give the FBI the boot. Let's get rid of them. Let's stop them at their game. Let's not allow that to happen anymore. And believe me, I don't want to make that NSA database and all of that stuff public. But I think we need our military. And I don't trust our military because, look, the Department of Defense did the vaccines to us. They weren't researched anywhere. That's what Epstein was working on, by the way. Bioweapons, and he was also working on sending money to different places. He handled the bribery money, the payoffs. Ghislaine handled basically the selling of children and setting up of the blackmail stuff. And if it was legal for us to watch those videos, then we would definitely be going after the guilty party. I don't need to watch the videos. I might have years ago been eager to do it, but now I don't want to see them. But I wish it was legal. But it's illegal for us to view those because it's illegal to possess child pornography. And so if we lived in a really free country, it wouldn't be illegal to possess child pornography. And if it was, and the country of Ecuador posted the videos of Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton doing their stuff on Orgy Island on their website years ago. And the government said, we're not doing this for titillating purposes. We're doing this so that everybody can know this and we can put an end to it. We never did get to put an end to it. No, I'm not going to go watching that stuff. I don't need to. I will take a jury watching that. I will take others watching that. My understanding is that the people who watch that stuff become very disturbed. I've had enough disturbance in my life. Yahweh says, do not major in evil. Do not study evil. So yes, I'm ignorant of it. 60,000 Satanists inside that little postage stamp of a country, Israel. I think it's more than that. But there's 60,000 actively participating in their ceremonies above ground. And you wonder how they can put those poor children in Gaza to death without thinking about it. That's because they're doing child sacrifice and stuff right there in the open in the public at night with their bonfires and passing the babies through the fire to Molech. Please, folks, pray for me. Pray for my channel. Pray for success. I do want to travel the country. It's going to cost quite a bit to fix this rig up. I want to do that if I can, possibly. If not, Yahweh may be saying, no, it's time to go to your corner, and it's time to wait because the shakeup's coming. And it looks like February 16th is the first part of it. That's very soon. And then almost a year later in January is the second part of that. But before then, we may nuke each other. And then we have the matter of the sun novaing on top of it. So we have two natural events coming up built into the clock solar system, built into the clockwork of the universe, set up at the beginning of time, beginning of creation. And then we have the devils who are busy trying to get us nuked. And you may say, nobody in their right mind would do that, Dr. Kemp. Why would they do that? Don't ask me to explain evil, you dumbass. Don't. You can explain it to me. I don't really want to hear much about it. But if you know something that helps the rest of us and can deliver it in a way that we can accept as palatable, that would be very nice. Even if it's not palatable, if you tell us the truth, we will love you for that. Love, truth, and justice, and the American way.